So Mike, let's jump right into this. How many people have you helped train to sell on Amazon? Because it's a huge opportunity to be able to sell on Amazon, the biggest sales platform in history.
I've already trained thousands of people on not just selling on Amazon, but how do you know what to sell? What are the right products? How do you know what makes sense? So the thousands of people that have already been trained by me, they've been implementing a specific process. A lot of people, you know, they think it's a tough thing. They think it's for the other people. They don't realize the machine Amazon is and how they'll actually do all the fulfillment for you. They'll handle all the customer service for you. And it's the #1 platform. It's the low-hanging fruit to start making money online by using and leveraging Amazon.
So what are the kind of things you've seen people sell on Amazon? My mom and I were just talking about, what were you talking about, Mom? Selling coffee business you wanted, or was it?
Type of bullet coffee.
Type of bulletproof coffee, like what Dave asked. What's different about yours?
Well, it would have
Put it real close, Mom. Almost touching.
More ingredients, more superfoods in it.
My mom's been into health food since like since she was a teenager. So I don't want to give away her age. I don't want to.
Wow.
Not the 1920s.
No.
You're not that old, Mom.
No, since time.
So let's say somebody watching here wants to sell a supplement. They want to sell clothing line brand. They want to sell a gadget. Like I have a friend selling this gadget. You put it on you while you're exercising and it tells you all this readout on your metrics on how much fat you're burning and all that. Would you say Amazon, how much does it cost to get started on Amazon? Like in your experience?
Okay, so you can get as little as $500 in inventory to start. Now, where a lot of people make mistakes is they think they're going to find the next great idea, or they think, you know, I'm going to find something really clever. It's actually not that difficult. The stuff you want to sell on Amazon is the stuff that makes sense, meaning there's 3 criteria. Does it already sell well? Can I compete? And are the margins there? And that's why you don't really have to know what you want to sell. I know that sounds kind of crazy, but it's not just for people with a lot of money. It's not just for people with experience selling. Anybody, and it's all about finding the right product. The trick to selling on Amazon is not trying to recreate the wheel. It's just following a pretty basic process.
Yeah.
So $500 to start. I know this is going to be people's #1 question. And I'll just ask you, if you were starting from scratch and you were going to sell something on Amazon, what would you sell? Just throw out 3 examples of something you would sell on Amazon.
For sure. So I like to go into categories, right? Because there's so many products within each category, but home and kitchen is a great place to start. Pet supplies is a really great place to start. And electronics, you know, it's not so much what to sell, but I'll give you some specific ideas. It's more about what meets the criteria. So with that being said, so there's one tool that's really cool out there. It's called, if you go to AmazonProductFinder.com, it's a really cool tool because what you can do is, what it does is it scrubs all of Amazon. So you could say, show me everything with less than 50 reviews. Show me everything that sells between $15 and $50. Show me everything. So,
what's the name of the website again? If somebody's listening, what was the name?
It's called the AmazonProductFinder.com. So if you go to AmazonProductFinder.com, it's a really cool tool for that reason. So to me, I go by category. So I'll click on the whole category of pet supplies. I'll click on the whole category of home and kitchen. Outdoors stuff is really cool. Barbecue grill covers, you know, these new silicone gloves, you know, those fidget spinners were hot for a while. But the way you find out what makes sense is you want to see that there's people that are already selling $8,000, $10,000, $12,000 a month in sales. They have less than 50 reviews. And then the last thing you need to figure out is, are the margins there?
Now, why do you want it to be less than 50 reviews?
Because you want to see that people are already crushing it that don't have a lot of reviews. It just shows you that it's a good entry point.
So it basically means it's an unsophisticated market, so to speak. Like it's selling well, but They don't know how to get reviews and things like that.
That's exactly right. Or it just means that it's such a great seller because, of course, you'll see stuff with 10,000 reviews. That might be hard to compete against. If they have 50 reviews or less, just being part of my inner circle, it's like people get, countless reviews. And that's what's cool because it gives you that competitive edge. Meaning, if you already see that a product, and you might see the same thing. Let's use barbecue grill covers as an example. If I see that there's 2 or 3 sellers that have 4, 5, 6,000 reviews and they're doing 50 grand a month, I got to somewhat discount that. But if I also see there's some sellers that have 50 reviews or less and they're doing 8, 9, 9,500 a month in sales, I know that that's a good entry point for me.
But how does the website know how much sales? Is that public information?
I know it's so ridiculous. I know I don't know if it's that Amazon allows it, but the Amazon product finder, and it's .com, but it's linked up with Amazon. It's kind of crazy because it's able to scrub through every single category. So I don't just say, show me every single product. I'll do one category at a time. So I might do home and kitchen. And then in the filters, I want to see that with less than 50 reviews, that there's and with a price point. See, I don't want to sell stuff that's $400, $500, $600 either. I want to sell stuff that's cheap.
So why do you like to sell cheaper stuff? Because people make money selling high ticket items. Why do you like to sell cheaper stuff?
And that is not bad for more experienced people. Now, when you're just starting out, the reason why you want to see a price point of anywhere from about $15 to about $50 is you want to see that, because if it's selling for $15, our magic formula is probably that we can get it for about $2.
Okay.
Right. So if you did a minimum order quantity, just say you're testing the waters, and you got something that was $2, and you got 500 of them. That's $1,000 outlay. That's not that serious of an investment compared to the upside. So Amazon Product Finder, that's what I like to use, and because it's just the format that I'm so used to. And there's and what makes that easy is because it literally will show you. Now you only have to, it'll show you what's already selling well. It'll show you that you can compete. Now the only step you got to take on top of that is you have to know that the margins are there. So a really easy.
So how do you, by the way, if you're listening, you don't know what margins mean. Margins is basically the difference between how much it costs you to create the product, sell the product, ship the product, and how much you make. So that's your profit. We call it the profit margin. So how do you know when something has a good profit margin? Because you don't want to sell something for $5 and it costs you $6, because then you're losing $1 every sale.
That's exactly right. So our magic number, you don't want to mess with anything that you can't at least 5 times your money on the gross. Okay. And you want to more target closer to 10 times, but
5 times the gross, really?
Yeah. So if I pay, let's use easy numbers. If I pay $3, I got to know at a minimum I could sell that for 15.
But you're saying 10 times is better. Obviously.
But 10 times, yeah. Well, I mean, 20 times is even better.
Yeah, but at some point, the competitor is going to come in. That's classic economics. If you charge too much, somebody else is going to not be as greedy. So what do you find is what the margin you can usually do? 7 times?
Yeah, 7, 8. But, one thing that's kind of crazy, Ty, people are kind of funny. Even though I might have the same charging cable, right? Like I can get these cool charging cables with 3 prongs, steel braided, all that for about 90 cents, right?
Okay.
Now, I could sell those for $9, and there's a bunch of, but I notice sometimes the higher you price something, the more sales you get.
Right,
people have
people
a perception.
think it's quality. Yeah.
That's right. So people always tell me, well, what is the right price? And there is no answer to that. It's guessing and testing, right? It's like, okay, let me try it at $9. Well, I tried it at $9, but now at 15, of course I'm selling less, but my margin that we just talked about is much higher.
Right.
So sometimes selling it for $15 is better than selling it for $9. Even though you sell less, you're putting more money in your pocket, which is kind of cool, right?
What would be a good pet? You talk about pet supply. What's something you've seen people sell, like pet pot supplies? Did they sell, like...
Oh, there's such cool things. Like one of my students has like a really cool like pet kit. So you get creative sometimes with it.
Kit or a pet?
Yeah, like one to like trim the nails, one to brush it. It's like a little kit, like a little manicure kit, right?
Huh.
But see, that's how you can sometimes.
Pets are crazy, man.
That's so funny.
Oh, and it's so like those pet mats. Like they have these really cool like cooling mats nowadays, right? Like that like the dog sits on it and it's like a cooling mattress for adults. And so, but just
Wait,
to use
the
an
dog
example,
sits on it or adults sit on it?
no, the dog. It's like a dog bed, but it's like a cooling kind of thing, right? So like now people really want to like treat their pets like better than they would treat most other people, you know?
So for McKenna and my mom, because my mom's always wanting to do a business. Mom, what is something you want to sell? You said coffee, right?
That might be too complicated to
But
start
could you?
with.
So what's your opinion, Mike? Could you sell coffee on Amazon? Like,
No, once you were a little more experienced, that might be a product you jump into. But why not do this like a French press or like a coffee press or like those things that hold the tea leaves,
Right.
that you dip in? Like, why not, get something at the beginning that might cost you 30, 40 cents?
Yeah.
And maybe you might only sell it $6 or $7, but at least you have a really cheap entry point.
Right.
Because two things happen there. Not only do you learn how to sell it, because I could give you everything. I have I teach everything I've got, but really you learn more by actually doing it, right? Getting your feet wet and actually implementing. So starting off with something really cheap, to me, it's such a minimal risk, because if I buy something for 50, 60 cents, the chance of me having to sell that for 30 cents is nearly non-existent. I might have to sell it for $4 or $5, and it might not hit it out of the park on my first product, but at least I learn and I'm implementing and I'm generating some income and then reinvesting those funds into more inventory, more expensive products. It really is endless. Like, look around your house right now. I mean, everything you see there is like Amazon is the world now. And we're only at 10% of where we're going to be.
So you think Amazon growth is going to 10x?
I firmly believe that Amazon growth will 10x over the next 5 years.
Wow.
Because as crazy as it sounds, it's still something like 80% of transactions take place in brick and mortar.
Right. So people are still
barely
going to the
scratched
store.
surface.
They're going to the store. McKenna, how much stuff do you buy online? Clothes. Be honest. How much do you go to the store versus online?
I would say 80 to 90% of my clothing is online. Absolutely.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Mom, how about you?
No, I don't buy that much online. Basic stuff maybe, but not clothing. I have
So
to
the
try it on.
newer generation is okay with buying stuff online. And now, like Whole Foods, I'm telling you, watch this Amazon Whole Foods thing. Grocery companies, all the big ones, Vaughn's, Ralph's, they're all scared because now Amazon, what's the first thing Amazon did? The first Monday that they owned Whole Foods, they dropped the prices by about half on most of the stuff.
That was a really good idea.
Yeah, and that's where we're moving. 5 years ago, it's funny, my father-in-law, like he wouldn't enter his credit card online to buy an airline ticket, right? He was scared somebody's going to get his credit card. Now it's like so second nature, no one hesitates to ever put their credit card in on Amazon or, using PayPal or going on Delta.com and buying an airline ticket. Now it's not even a question, and people are moving in that direction. That's why when people say, Mike, you think it's saturated, the Amazon? And it's like, we're not even at 10% of where it's going to be.
Yeah.
And, one of the keys, and we almost started talking about it, it's like, so once it sells well, once you can compete based on the reviews, preliminarily go to a site like Alibaba, right? Have you heard of Alibaba?
Yeah.
So what Alibaba is, it gives you the preliminary information, right? So let's use something like, since we're already talking about like barbecue grill covers, let's just use that as like an example that people don't really realize sells really good, but it does sell really good, and the margins are there. So say you see the average barbecue grill cover that you see it on Amazon, you see that it has 50 reviews or less, and that there are sellers with 50 reviews or less that are doing 8, 9, 10,000 a month. Now what you're gonna do is preliminarily you wanna know the third question, which is, are the margins there? So you go to a site like Alibaba, and that's gonna give you preliminary pricing. So what you do, you type in barbecue grill covers, and you'll see, okay, if I buy 500 of them, I can get them for $6. If I buy 1,000, I can get them for $4. Now remember, that's preliminary pricing. So you want to email the supplier, say, hey, can you give me a price quote? What do you want for shipping? You want all that stuff. Now, what I've done is I've taken that a step further, and I actually have a company that I work with in China that'll actually get, so you want benchmark pricing. So Alibaba is going to give you the benchmark pricing, but then I'll have my guys in China go to the actual manufacturers and see how much more I could whittle that down.
Right.
So if I see I can already get 6-7 times my money on Alibaba, I know it's only going to get better. So that's a product that will now be on my list of things that I want to source. You know, fitness bottles, like shaker bottles, charging cables, like little basic things that you don't realize how well these things sell.
Yeah.
And that's why starting out small is the best idea, because not only do you get your feet wet, but your margins tend to be higher on those really low ticket items. And then that enables you, because I would, at this point in my Amazon career, I would buy something for $100 that sells, you know, for $200. Even though it's only 2x on my money, it's $100 per sale.
Right.
But that's not for new people,
But you're
and
more
that's what we're
advanced. How
talking
many years
about.
have you been doing it?
So I've done it now. I'm going on 2 years of selling on Amazon,
Yep.
but 16 years of selling online.
Right. So you switched about 2 years ago. You saw the trend switching over to Amazon. You switched from the old way. You might have been selling with your own shopping cart and things like that. Now, let's just walk through a super simple thing here. My mom likes when I make stuff super simple. So I'm going to make a hypothetical person listening. So we'll just call him Kelly, because Kelly could be male or female. We'll pick a gender neutral name. All right. So Kelly lives in a middle-sized, town, mid-sized town somewhere in the world. Maybe not in the U.S., but somewhere in a country in the world. Okay, there's about 190, I think, 3 countries in the world, something like that. Little islands and all over. You could do this from anywhere, obviously. So Kelly is, let's say, 25 to 35 years old. They've never had their own business. Let's just pick and create a hypothetical business in 5 minutes of conversation. So let's just make up something they'll sell. So I'm going to start a series. So they're thinking in their mind, what the heck could I sell? Let's pick, what would you, Mike, as an expert, what would you say for this hypothetical Kelly character? What should they sell?
Okay, so if I'm Kelly, I would want to go for the lowest hanging fruit categories.
Okay.
So you have to start with a category. So I would say home and kitchen. So that's one of my favorites.
Home and kitchen. Okay. So let's pick, what's a product you've seen? Now, if you're listening, this is just a hypothetical, so don't necessarily try to copy this exactly. Just listen to the principle. What's an item you've seen well in home and kitchen that sells?
Yeah, let's say a garlic press.
A garlic press. So those little, Mom, you use those, right?
Yeah,
My mom always puts garlic and stuff, killing me. Once they decide on a garlic press, what do you do next? What's the next step?
Now, the way we decided on that, so remember, by going to AmazonProductFinder.com, I'm checking the checkbox that says home and kitchen.
Okay.
But let's just say that a garlic press came up. There was people crushing it, meaning there was people with less than 50 reviews doing at least 6, 7, 8 grand a month. And then now what is the next step? It's like, okay, I know I'm meeting 2 of the 3 criteria. I know it sells well. I know I can compete. Now I need to mark off my 3rd box. So I'm going to go on Alibaba.com preliminarily, and I'm going to type in garlic press.
Okay.
And I'm going to see, okay, what manufacturers sell them. Let me see some cool different variations of the garlic press. And then I'm going to get one preliminarily. So I'm going to start asking for quotes. I'm going to say, let's use hypothetically, it sells really well for $8. Let's just say that, right? Maybe $7.99.
Okay.
Let's say that that's what it's selling for on Amazon. So now what I need to do is I need to know, because quality is very important. So it's not just price, it's a combination of price and quality. So the next thing you're going to do is you're going to get bona fide quotes. Now, once you get your quotes, the next thing that you need to do is you need to get samples of that product. So because you need to feel it, you need to make sure it's good quality. You don't want to put your name on something. You don't want to start worrying about packaging and logos and all that fun stuff till you know that it's a good quality product, the margins are there, it sells well, and you can compete. So let's say we found the right manufacturer, and we did that just by sending emails back and forth. So are we all good? Are we good up to that point in time?
Okay, so we've got this. We've found that we've gone to Alibaba, and you just literally just type in, what do you type in? Garlic press?
Yeah, so however it's named on Amazon.
Okay.
Garlic press. And a lot of times what's funny is you'll see pictures of the actual item on Amazon, of the exact one on Amazon, and you'll get price quotes. So it's like it's
China
almost
does
like
a lot of
foolproof.
copying. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, and it's not even so much that they're doing the copying. It's like everything in our kitchen is from China.
Yeah. Okay, so we go to Alibaba. Now, what's our next step? Because we got to get this thing selling. How do we get it so that how do we get it on Amazon to post it there, and then how do we ship it to people?
I love it. Okay, so your next step is you get a sample, okay? Because you don't want to sell junk. So we got a sample. We're good with it. Now we place our order. So let's just use some rough numbers. Let's say it's $1.20 packaged.
Okay.
Meaning, it's the garlic press, it's a cool box. Now, one little side note on that is a lot of times they already have existing packaging, right? These manufacturers do. And you go on a site like Fiverr.com. You know Fiverr, right?
Yeah.
Fiverr.
Yep.
And for $5, $10, $20, you can, so they'll give you the template of the box. You have a designer overseas make a really cool package, really cool design. Now you place your order. What's so cool about Amazon, and a lot of people don't even know this is possible, it's called FBA, Fulfillment by Amazon.
Yep.
The product actually gets shipped directly from China right to Amazon.
So it goes right to their factories. And you said you could start by just ordering like $500 worth of stuff and have it shipped from China to Amazon's warehouse.
Yeah, the optimal amount, I'm just saying you could start with as low as 500. But if you have a couple bucks in your savings, like starting with like 1,500, $2,000 might be smarter, only because with 500 you might sell out quick. And that's a problem too.
Right.
Selling too fast and having too much sales velocity is actually a problem too. Like I've run into that where I actually ran out of product and it cost me a fortune because like I've boosted my sales rank, spiked that Amazon algorithm. I'm on page 1. I'm just crushing it. I crush it too much, run out of product, and now I'll never do that again because now I just buy way more than I'm going to sell in a month or 2 months or 3 months. But so this machine called FBA, Fulfillment by Amazon. Now the warehouses receive that product.
Okay.
Now your listing goes live. I'm giving you an overview, but so what you do now is your listing is now on Amazon, and there's a whole method behind that too, because it's like how do you keyword your title? How do
you got to put in
keyword
the
your
right
bullet
words
points?
so that when people search garlic press, when Kelly creates, so you basically create a listing on Amazon, but basically Kelly needs to put the right words because obviously if she puts in, if everybody's searching for the word garlic press and she puts in garlic crusher or something like that, then all of a sudden she doesn't show up. Is that what you're talking about?
But the easy way to do that right now, if you go to like Google Keyword Planner. So what you got to do now is go to like Google Keyword Planner. It's free. Find the right keywords because you might think it sounds really cool, like your title, but who cares because it's not searchable, right?
Yeah.
Like you need to incorporate keywords, and I know you're a master of that, Ty. Like keywords are like what the world of internet revolves around, is like keywording things properly. And I also have like on Fiverr, I have like a really cool like guy who's a resource that will scrub and find all the keywords, like put in all those man hours for you and give you the right keywords to use. But so now you've created your listing. Your listing is live. Now you're on Amazon.
So Kelly, let's say she lives in, I don't know, Omaha, Nebraska. She presses the button. She's made her listing. She's worked with China. It's been shipped to Amazon warehouses where robots are going to mail it to people, and some humans work for Amazon. And she presses the live button. So now anyone in the world who searches garlic press, but the problem is she's not going to show up as #1 on garlic press, and most people don't scroll down that far. So how do you get yourself, what do you need to be in the top 3 when Kelly types it, Kelly to make money?
If you're just on the first page, you're doing amazing.
So
but you got to remember,
okay.
Yeah, first page for sure. But you got to remember too, like people aren't just typing in garlic press. So you might be on 3rd page for garlic press, but best garlic press, you might be on page 1, right? A longer tail keyword.
Right.
So you got to remember, people are searching hundreds and hundreds of different types, long tail, short tail keywords. But how do you spike that Amazon algorithm? So me and my partner, we do a whole marketing thing on it, but I'll give you the nutshell version. So everyone on Amazon has what's called a BSR, a bestseller rank.
Everybody gets a BSR, bestseller rank. What's that mean?
That's right. And what that is that's basically, so So Kelly, let's use Kelly as our example, right? So Kelly lists her product. Now, getting an immediate sales velocity spikes you, right? Like that's what Amazon loves to see, is that you get sales right out of the gate. And that's why, like, being part, and I say this humbly, but being part of like a group that I've formed, like this really cool mastermind, is that people, and you can't incentivize reviews. So you can't tell people, hey, if you buy my product and you give me 5 stars, I'll do this for you. Like, you can't do that. But
you can ask people to give you an honest review. You can't tell them what to say, right? You can say, hey, what'd you think of my product? Go review.
It's a gray line, but like, say you and I are together, and like we're both like-minded. Like, you're selling on Amazon, I'm selling on Amazon. If I just say, hey, Ty, check out my new product, like, chances are you're going to be like, I want to help Mike out. Right. Chances are I'm going to be like, I want to help Ty out. So what I've noticed is, like, people get instant traction, and then you start looking at people's listings and things, because you can't, like, honestly, it's like super gray. Like, it used to be that I could just ask you to leave me a review, but Amazon is so anal. Like, you don't even want to start like asking for a review.
Because on Apple Store, people like, every time I use Instagram, I get this stupid pop-up. How's your experience with Amazon? And if you say good or give it then it says, would you like to review us on the on the Apple, iTunes. So, in the Apple App Store. So you're saying Amazon doesn't even like that.
Yeah, they really don't like when you start getting into asking for reviews and things like that. Now, do people do it? Of course they do it. Is it something like that you're going to, like, you can't advertise like, hey, ask this guy for a review. It's kind of like, review clubs, like they have those. Like, it's more like this. It's like, hey, Ty, I just launched this product. Check it out and click here to buy it, right? Yeah. Like, chances are, like, you're going to want to support me just like I want to support you.
So these groups of like-minded people, that's a way people kind of get around this. But you got to be careful, because if Amazon finds out, they'll delist you or knock you to the very bottom. And what's the 3 letters, McKenna? What are the 3 letters?
BSR.
BSR. And what does that stand for?
I don't know, basic sale rate, something.
McKenna just making up words.
I haven't had caffeine all day today. I'm literally gonna hit it on my
mom's coffee will be available on Amazon. Will you leave a review so her by the time this is like the game telephone.
I did. That's why she's on point.
In a week, McKenna's gonna be going around being like, "What's your IRB?" People will be like, "What's that? Internal Review Board." And we're like, "What? What's your IRS?" So you can have a group of other sellers, but how do you really get people to see your listing? Because this whole thing doesn't work for Kelly selling the garlic press from Omaha, Nebraska, after she bought $1,500 worth of inventory, if nobody sees it. How do you get more people to see it besides keywords?
Yeah, so keywords is a big part of it. And you build backlinks to the listing and stuff like that, which is all stuff I explain. Like, that's a whole nother subject. But so what happens is, when you would get initial sales volume, so, and a lot of people run Facebook ads, still works, but you want to know a really cool technique, and you're probably familiar with this site, but it's called a FameBit.
Okay.
FameBit, do you know that? Where it's like big influencers, people with huge followings on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter. What they do, so you have a product sent to them. So if you go to FameBit, you're basically bidding on them promoting your product. And what's really cool is, as you know, YouTube has a shelf life of forever. So you get someone who's famous, say, on YouTube, and they make a cool video like, hey, wow, Mike Gazzola's diet pills, these are like the best diet pills ever, right? Like, I lost 6 pounds. But you always want to be truthful, for one. So I tell them, like, if you love the product and you're willing to do it, like, you might pay $200 or something.
So you pay them to review it.
Exactly.
But
and
you can't tell them to review it positive or negative. Just review it.
No. Not review it on Amazon.
No, review it on their YouTube or their Instagram or Twitter or whatever.
Yeah, so like for $250, you might get a reach of 500,000 people the day you launch.
Yeah.
Right? Wow. Because when they upload, so you have so your sales velocity, now you get your rank increases on Amazon, which in turn gets you more sales, which increases your rank even more, which in turn gets you more sales. So using some really cool creative stuff like FameBit, like using groups where it's like, hey, check out my product. I have a 95% off coupon. Check it out. like Amazon gives you credit for that sale, even if you gave someone 95% off. So, but you don't have to go that extreme. Like say I'm going to do a 50% off for 24 hours. And it's like I run Facebook ads. Amazon has a really cool ad platform as well. Because remember, it's all about that initial sales velocity. So when you're just starting out, it's like getting your traction, which will get you more traction, which will get you more sales, which will increase your selling rank, up, it just keeps on going. And that's how, and then you get some cool designations like hot new release, because you're a new product and you're selling a lot of it. Now you get this hot new release designation, which gets even more people interested. But like, I have a whole thing all about marketing. I'm just sharing with you some really cool, simple things that you could do.
So what's a realistic amount of money our hypothetical Kelly person selling garlic presses out of Omaha, Nebraska, what's a realistic amount of money you could see them making a month? $1,000, $10,000? Like what's real? Because you got to have realistic expectations. You're not going to become a billionaire. You're not going to become a billionaire selling garlic presses. But you could sell more than one product. So if you get one up selling, making you $1,000 a month, if you get 10 products like that, all of a sudden you're making 10 G's a month. And for a lot of people, that's, you can pretty much quit your day job for that. So what do you think a simple product like that's a $10 product or whatever, could you see them grossing and netting?
Yeah, and I never like using extreme examples, but I did just get an email yesterday from one of my students, and he did 15 grand in the first 30 days. Now that's abnormal.
Yeah.
That's because he hit a home run. Everyone's not going to hit a home run on every product, but let's just say you only did 1,000.
Yep.
That's nothing to brag about, but just like you said, that's one product. Now you launch a second, a third, a fourth, a fifth, take those revenues, launch even more. But to me, you're doing decent on your product. If you're doing $2 to $3 grand a month in sales, you're doing decent.
And then with margins, would you say they're making about half of that profit after you subtract the marketing costs and your time and so help?
That's totally reasonable. And some people it'll be slightly higher. Some people it could be lower because it also depends like how deep are you going? Like, are you getting 10 people on FameBit right out of the gate?
Right.
And maybe initially you might net a little bit less money, but in the long run, you'll make up that money, right?
Yeah.
So, but let's say that we're targeting half back. Like, that's pretty amazing. But just say you're doing, like if you're netting $1,000, but you have 5,000 in sales. Like, to me, you're still doing pretty good.
20,
like, you might only
20%,
be netting
20-30% profit margin. Most businesses, if you look at them, when it all said and done, if you can make 20 to 30% profit margins, that means for every $10,000 of sales, if you can keep 2 to 3 grand, you're doing pretty well. For example, you get that garlic press selling you $3,000 gross, $3,000 worth of garlic presses per month on Amazon. After your expenses, buying it, shipping them from China, maybe paying for some Facebook ads and some marketing ads, you net $1,000. Now you just go out, your job is find 10 products. You do a garlic press, you do a hula hoop, you do a pet supply, a pet manicure kit, you do this. Next thing you know, in 1 year, and this is what people forget about making money, it cracks me up. A lot of people I tell, in 1 year, get 5 products, making you $5 grand a month total, 1,000 each. And then in year 2, add 5 more products. Now you're making 10 grand a month. And then people go, oh, Tai, that'll take me 2 years. And I go, people go to college for 4 years. Then they go get a master's for 1 or 2 more. Then they get a PhD for 3 or 4 more years, all to figure out how to make 10 grand. So some people, I'm like, this one you're actually getting paid in the first year and the second year. And people spend 10 years getting a PhD, which is great. We need people in the world. I'm not disparaging anybody who becomes a medical doctor. We need more doctors in the world. But the point is, people their perspective is all wacky. If it takes you 2 years to figure out how to make 10 grand a month, that's insanely good. Because remember, this is basically on autopilot. You're not literally having to fly your little plane to China, pick up the stuff, bring it back to Amazon. You're not packaging up the boxes. Basically, once the product works, it works. And the cool thing is, I'm assuming, tell me, Mike, if I'm right. By the way, if you're tuning in, I'm here with Mike from AmazonSecrets.net. I'm here with my mom, and I'm here with McKenna, and we're talking about how to make money starting out selling on Amazon, if you're a beginner, or we're talking about some advanced stuff, but more for beginners. So, Mike, am I right to say after a year of you doing good sales for your garlic press, let's say, you're going to have a lot more reviews and your BSR is going to go up, up, up. Your bestseller ranking, Amazon, and you conceivably after a few years could be in the top 3 of garlic presses, which means it takes less money in marketing to be able to sell the garlic press, and you could even potentially raise the prices because some people are willing to pay an extra $1 or $2 or even more.
That's right.
Because if they see you got 200 reviews, by the way, how many reviews does somebody need in the long run? After a year of selling, what would you like to see ideally in terms of how many reviews you would like? Hopefully good ones.
Yeah, so, I mean, in a year, you should be looking at a couple hundred reviews by then.
Yeah.
But to be good on reviews, like, having like 50, 60, 70 reviews is good. Like, that you've pretty much proven yourself in the marketplace once you've gotten that many reviews. You don't necessarily need the thousands. I mean, of course, it helps. But, you know, you could spike that. You know, you could be in the top 3. I've seen it in 2-3 months. It's just, it's like anything else, Tyler. And you know this. It's like, you can't think of something that it's a get rich quick, but if you put in the work and you're hungry for something, you're going to make yourself better every time, and you're going to figure things out, and you're going to get better at it. I mean, what's the alternative? You open a Subway for 200 grand, 250 grand to make 40 grand a year?
Yeah.
Like,
and then when
like,
you open a Subway, you have to be, the beauty, you just brought something up, and let me bring this to everybody's attention. One of the things you learn in finance, I used to own a wealth management company. I was a CFP. I worked for GE Capital, biggest company in the world in finance. One of the things that people forget, and the average person doesn't know what I'm talking about, so I'm going to explain this. It's called risk-adjusted return. So, you brought up a perfect example. Your risk, let's say you buy, right now, if you want to buy a a Subway franchise, it costs between $200,000 and $300,000. Okay, that's what you have to pay minimum, okay? And going. So you have the risk of having to take $250,000, either borrow it or take it from your savings and put it in. Now, you might discover after 1 year, you hate Subway, you hate having to be there, you know, it's hard to hire good help. You can hire help for minimum wage or a little above, but they steal money from the cash register and this, and they quit and all that, and they do drugs, and so you end up being in the store half of the time. So yes, let's say you make 50 grand or 100 grand a year. You have to factor in how much risk you took. You had to put up 250 grand and sign a contract with Subway. Now, when you think about Amazon, even if you make less money from selling your garlic press or selling your pet supplies or your household stuff, how much money did you have in it? How much risk did you have on day one? Mike here is saying between $500 and $1,500 is all you're risking. So let's say it doesn't work out for you. Now you can just move on to the next thing. You know, so the beauty of Amazon and what we're talking about today is you can get in, you can test the garlic press idea, and worst case scenario, there's not one person here that's going to commit suicide if they lose $1,500. I mean, you might be sad if you lose $1,500, but if you put in $250 into a Subway and you lose that, people commit suicide over 250 grand. But trust me, people don't commit suicide over $1,500. Now, hopefully no one here is going to commit suicide over every amount of money. I'm just giving the emotional side of things that you have to factor in because we humans are very emotional. But you have to be persuasive. So things that will make you persuasive on Amazon, for example, is how you say it. You know, you could say garlic press and just be boring about it, or you could say something. I'll give you a little hint. One of the most, a guy named Frank Lutz, who's a political campaign expert, he said the most persuasive and emotion evoking word in the human language, in the English language, sorry, in America specifically, is imagine. So you could start your Amazon listing saying, imagine, you know, you're cooking a beautiful Italian meal for your family and you're, you know, blah, blah, blah. You want to use garlic and our press, which perfectly grinds it out. So that's not being manipulative to use the word imagine. It's being persuasive. The psychology of selling on Amazon is almost as big as the logistics of selling on Amazon. So one thing I'll add to on Amazon now, you can have video reviews on Amazon.
That's right. Yeah.
So
and those
get
are huge.
video reviews, because
That's
one of the
right.
things that's persuasive is when we see stuff. You know,
You-
when we
you
see
hit it right on the
people
head.
talking.
Those are massively important. Video reviews are just, they're amazing.
I got this product that I was thinking of selling because I use a treadmill desk. Okay?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna give you an idea. Some of you might try to steal it with me. Okay, that's all right. I'm free with my ideas. If an idea is too easy to steal, it's usually a bad idea. So I usually share my ideas. So the problem, or with me, a treadmill desk. I've bought all 3 major treadmill desks. Each of them has something wrong with them. So for example, the one I like the most that has the best desk to put your laptop, and you know, it's a good treadmill, you can sit there and walk and work. It doesn't elevate at all. And it's good to have a treadmill that can elevate a little bit, so you like work different parts of your quadriceps and your thighs and stuff like that, okay?
Yeah.
So I thought of going out, manufacturing the perfect treadmill desk. It's a little more expensive to get in the treadmill game because I'm guessing that a treadmill desk is gonna cost about $700 in equipment, you know, in labor, materials, shipping, but I could sell it for $1,500. So if I sell one treadmill desk a day, making $700 profit a day, you can make $20,000, $30,000 a month. So for people listening that are a little more advanced, what would you recommend for these higher price things to sell on Amazon? We talked about a garlic press.
So the first thing that I would need to know, very first, is I would need to go using that, you know, the AmazonProductFinder.com, going there, and I would put in that exact treadmill desk. I would put that in. Okay. I would need to know who are the top 5 people right now already selling it. How much are they making? You know, their gross. How much is their sales? How many reviews do they have? Because I need to know that it sells well. I need to know I can compete. If it doesn't sell well, I'm not going to touch that product. If there's not an entry point, I'm not going to sell that product. Now I'm going to start doing my research. So now I'd go to something like Alibaba. I would see, okay, what kind of MOQ? That's minimum order quantity. How many would I have to buy? How much would I have to buy them for? How much does it cost landed to Amazon? Okay. I need to know all those things. Now, if the margins are there, I can compete, meaning there's sellers that are doing well, that have 50 reviews or less. I can compete. The margins are there, and it already sells well, then no problem moving forward with it. But it's that cut and dry. You don't need to like think, well, I got this great idea. You know, you want to go after the people that already have the arrows in their back.
Yeah.
Meaning they've already proven it works.
They've made
you don't want the arrows in your own back.
What do you think a MOQ is going to be on a higher ticket price product like that?
I would guess it would be somewhere around 20, maybe up to 50 to get decent. See, it's not just the MOQ, because they might be like, okay, it's $300 if you get 20 of them. But if you get 50 of them, we'll bring that down to, you know, 190. Who knows?
I'm worried. This is what I'm worried about. I buy 50 of these from China. I send them my specs, and they send me back, you know, a piece of crap treadmill desk that like falls apart when you use. Will they send me a sample?
Yes. So you don't never do that. Never send them your specs and for a first product. Now it's okay to develop a product, like you said, that you found 3 different treadmill desks. In your head, you could probably figure out what was wrong with each one, what was right about each one, and kind of make your own version. And what I take that one step further. If I'm looking to start a product, like I'll look at what are the negative reviews on that product.
Right.
And then I will fix that problem. So I'll go and see what are they saying that my barbecue grill cover fades really fast? Are they saying it's too lightweight, it blows off too easily? You know, what are they saying wrong about that, and see if I can make the changes. Okay. Now, what you're doing for your first product is you want one that a manufacturer is already making it, and you do what I call private label, right? So you're white labeling that. Yeah. So it would be Tai's treadmill desk in that example.
So let's go back to, we private label, we call it the new and improved, or the special Tai special edition treadmill desk.
Yep.
and you're thinking I need to buy 20 to 50 of them. By the way, this is we're talking advanced strategies now. This is not, start out selling little stuff like garlic presses.
That's
but
right.
If you got a little more money, so if I had to buy 30 of them and it cost me $500, I got to put out 15 grand. And
That's right.
we ship them. Would you ship those directly to Amazon's warehouses for them to
Yes.
ship them? Yeah.
Definitely, yeah. You ship them right to Amazon. Now, there's only one baby problem that's why it's not really for the people just beginning, unless you just have, if you're really well funded, is that every time that you're going to need a sample, right? Because you're not going to just start selling this desk till you get a sample. So you might spend $300-400 per sample. You might need to get 4 or 5 samples. You've already dropped $2,000 in samples. Now,
Why do you need 4 or 5 samples though?
Well, I mean, just saying that. Like you said, what if it's a piece of junk?
Oh, right, yeah.
So the sample is just kind of hedging your bet, because why would you want to order 15 grand worth and then receive it and realize it's garbage, right? So, but a garlic press, you can get 4 or 5 samples. It's all good, right? Like, what are you going to spend? I mean, typically a sample, you're not really paying for the sample on those really low items. You're paying like 30 to 50 bucks for them to ship it to you here, because they're only shipping one.
Yeah.
So you might need to get 150, 200 bucks in samples, but you might find your very first sample might hit a home run. Same with your desk. But just be prepared, because remember, quality is important. It's not just the cheap price. You need a good quality and a combination of quality and price. If you find a really good price and you find a really good quality, and you know it sells well, and you know you can compete, and you know the margins are there, you don't need to wonder. There's always going to be what ifs in life.
Yeah.
You know you have a rock solid foundation, and that's the point you move from.
Yeah. Now, one of the things that I would just say for advanced people is it's the risk reward. You see, with a garlic press, you get in for $1,500, but you're probably only going to make a couple grand a month. With the treadmill desk, potentially, or a higher ticket item, you might be having to put out 30 to 50 grand.
That's right.
On day one, you put but you got the potential to make $1,000 every time people buy one product from you. So there's nothing wrong with selling garlic presses, and then if you figure out the garlic press, you can sell a coffee grinder, and because it's kind of similar, and you just keep going. And the next thing, there's people. What's the most products any of your students you've seen them sell?
Most are so in the first 6 months. You want to try and target to get to about 4 or 5 products. I mean, 6 months from the date your very first product gets on Amazon. To me, it's kind of like this. Once you can get to between 10 and 20 sales a day, now you should start looking at the next product. Because that might seem like, wow, that's a lot. But, I've seen people 70, 80, 90 sales in a day without much time selling on Amazon. So you want to, once you can master a product, meaning to me, like just 10 sales a day, you should start saying, okay, I need to do this again, because it's easier to go from 0 to 10 than 10 to 20, right? It's easier to get that initial push.
The incremental. So then so some of your students, you're saying in a year might have 5 to 10 different products they're selling.
That's right. Sure. Yeah. Especially, because when a lot of people are this way, and I'm kind of that way too, when you can kind of taste it and feel a little success, that pumps you up to do even more. Yeah. Because now it feels real to you. I mean, I can make all kinds of videos showing you examples of everyone else kicking butt, but once you start kicking butt, that's more inspiration than me showing you, 100 other people that are kicking butt. You need to, once you start kicking butt, now that's your fire. That's your, we have families. We want to be supportive. We want to be able to take those vacations, not have to work our fingers to the bone. And once you could once it's tangible and once you could feel that, that's where the power and that's where the mindset really kicks into gear, knowing that this isn't just theory and all these other people kicking butt. Some people make excuses. They say, well, they got lucky. Well, did they all get lucky and you just got unlucky, or are they taking action and they're all in and you're half in?
And then they have a combination. The reason I'm doing this, episode with you is because this is a strategy episode, and you need 2 things. You need to be able to execute, but you also need a strategy first. And some people just think they're going to get rich or become independently, financially independent just by working hard. And that's not true, because if you have a bad strategy and you work hard at it, all you'll get is a lot of work and a lot of hours, and you'll work 3 jobs and you'll hardly be able to make ends meet. So you have to incorporate first strong strategy. And so when it comes to business and it comes to Amazon, you can't just go out there and start posting all over Amazon products and not know what you're doing. And a lot of people don't know what they're doing. And so I always, like, I go on these calls because I learn. People are like, why do you do a podcast? Why do you do, you know, now I think I'm going to be up on Spotify. I just got approved on Spotify. So it's like, why do I do these free calls? Because I'm learning right here with you. And so it's important that you think things through strategically as if you're the general of your own bank account. And like you said, people go, well, there's more, the wealthy are getting wealthier and the poor are getting poorer, and there's some truth to that. But I'll give the counter argument. There's more opportunity for the poor to no longer be poor because, for example, even if you don't have any money, if you can talk somebody into partnering with you and giving you $2,000 or $1,000 so that you can order your first, you know, set of products on Amazon and start selling, you know, now you got the potential to make more money than you have at a crappy government job or whatever, you know, you don't like you're doing now. So keep your head up. If things aren't going well, you can't wish them better. It's going to be strategy and then executing, and then strategy and executing. And when you get punched in the face, like Mike Tyson says, on the first, you have your strategy. Okay, I'm going to sell a garlic press. You go out, you spend $1,000. It doesn't work out. Well, guess what? You can still stay in the fight. You just change your strategy. Anyway, all right. So back to this last thing as we wrap up. If people want to learn your specific strategy, Mike, where do they go, and what do they get?